woman, they often spend too much time in one area. They spend too much time at their parents' house. They spend too much time there. So you definitely want to make sure that you equally, if you can, distribute your time so that you feel balanced.
Hey,
because
Katrina.
you don't want to be all over the place. And I know a lot
Crystal,
of
we're doing a live
feel
call.
obligated to spend a lot of time.
Let me know if you guys can hear Trell. She's on the call now.
In the picture. I do want to admonish you that you still need to take care of you. You are still a very important factor in this equation. So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself time to do what you need to do.
Can you guys hear Trell?
Giving that appropriate time to your children, your spouse, and all that other stuff as well. Never give too much, because what happens is you begin to give out of an empty cup, and you get frustrated, you get irritated, annoyed, and all this other stuff because you're not balancing life. Okay? Another area, we're still talking about your 4 areas, is your finances. Yes. Finances, big. Another one that's all throughout the word, and all of these really are scripture in some variation or another. But you want to make sure when you're, spending your money or investing your money in whatever capacity, you want to make sure that you're prioritizing. That you're just not spending frivolously because you have it. Again, going back to eating out. I know a lot of people that eat out every day because it is convenient. I get it. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we're being good stewards over that which God has given us, and that's our resources as well. A lot of times people ask God to continue to bless them, or they need a financial miracle, or things of the nature, but when you begin to look back at your personal finances and your habits, you see that there's some areas that need improvement. So I want to admonish you on today, if this is your struggle, to begin get a budget together. Write down your expenses, write down your net pay of what you bring home every week, every 2 weeks, or every month, and write down your expenses to see what's coming in and what's going out. And even with your finances, you should have some type of emergency fund of at least $1,000 in the event anything happens. So priority would be making sure you have that emergency fund. And when you get your paycheck every single week, bi-weekly or monthly, make sure you're paying your tithes and your offerings, and then pay yourself as well. And then you'll have 80% to do whatever it is that you decide to do with that. Okay? The next thing, priority, is your career. Many of you are on full-time jobs. Some of you are in full-time business and things of that nature. But even with that, you have to make sure that you're prioritizing. I know I got stuck in my investor today way longer than I had anticipated, so I really gave them too much time than I should have. And I know that may be true for a lot of you. And because of that, it did cause me to get behind in some other things because I did not plan to stay there for the length of time I stayed there. But even with that, working in your business, working in your current job, your current career, if you work 8 to 5, 9 to 6, whatever it is, you give them that time, you do whatever it is that you need to do on that job, and then that's that. Whatever you have to do outside of that, make sure you're scheduling your time accordingly so that you can be effective using your time to the best of your ability. And then the next priority I want to talk about is your education. Many of you are in school, many of you recently graduated, many of you are thinking about going back to school. But what I want you to determine is that, is this the right time? Is this the proper time? If you're already trying to juggle everything in life, and I'm not trying to scare you because I'm big on education, so don't get me wrong. And education doesn't just mean school, like a university or college. Education can be in other variations as well. So I'm big on getting learned. But even in that, you have to make sure that you're prioritizing, seeing, is this the season in my life that I need to go back to school? If it is, you want to make sure that you're not overloading yourself with classes when you have a husband and children to go home to, or children to go home to, or yourself. You don't want to overindulge yourself just because you're single. I see that a lot with our single women. I can do what I want to do. I can work 5 jobs and all that. Yeah, that's fine, but at the end of the day, and also if you're looking to get married, you want to make sure that you're able to balance out your day so that you can give time to different areas in your life. Because if you're not doing that, then something is definitely going to go lacking.
Absolutely. And Trell, I want to say that, and with that, I'm on Periscope Live too, you guys. So all my Periscope viewers, I finally got on the scope. But anyway, what I want to say is that I know a young lady who was talking about this and how when she was doing that as a single woman, it rolled into her marriage so much so that her husband was like, you are DTM and you're doing too much. It's too, you need to get realigned and get your priorities back in order. And just to further piggyback on what you're saying with education here is committing to continuous learning. That's reading books. That's listening to audios. I can recall when I was a financial advisor, one of the best advice that I got from a guy named Brian Tracy, who's one of the leading sales people in America, is he told me to, make your car an audio learning center, and that could be with preaching things. Sometimes it's spiritual stuff. Sometimes it's, more academia or more like business stuff. But we should always commit to that continuous learning, because when your education is never a stopping process. Yes, that may be for some of you going back and get that bachelor's or whatever. But some of you, it just may be, I'm just going to listen to this audio. I'm going to listen to 30 minutes of preaching when I go to work and 30 minutes of business when I come home. But somehow committing to set aside time to make education a priority, to make, continuous learning a priority that you're always doing and you're never stopping. You're always saying, I never arrived. I never arrived. And sometimes that even could be, however you slice and dice it. Some of it may be spiritual in terms of what you're intaking, and some of it may be business or other things in other areas in your life.
Absolutely.
So I don't know.
I'll go over the points again. Yeah, I'm going to give you the 6 core areas. So it's spirituality.
The 6 areas.
Number 1. Number 2 is health and fitness, or health and wellness, or fitness. Number 3 is family. Number 4 is finances. Number 5 is career. And number 6 is education. Absolutely.
And I just want to give, and I gave this tip before, but I'm going to give it again because I imagine we have people that hasn't been on the call and I haven't heard this before. When it comes to family, you guys, it's good to schedule time with your family. For example, me and my husband, we schedule Tuesday nights and then Fridays or Saturdays. So we have Tuesday nights every week, and then we alternate between Fridays and Saturdays depending on our calendar, and we schedule that time to have that one-on-one time. Whether you have a husband or not, if you have children, which I'm making an appeal that you do the same thing and make that a priority, because sometimes we have the misperception that just because we're with our kids, just because we're in the same house or space, that's how equate to spending a lot of time, and it's not the same. It should be an engaging activity, even if it's watching a movie, eating ice cream, having dinner. It should be something where you're giving that person your undivided attention and, setting that aside. So you guys kind of figure out how are you going to allocate in these major 6 core areas your time and your day. And then once you kind of do that, that takes you to write down, which is the number 2 thing. Cheryl said, determine your priorities, number 1. Number 2 is write down, your priorities. Write it down. This is biblical, like Cheryl mentioned. Habakkuk 2 and 4, it says, make a vision, write a vision to make it plain. Some of you know, because you've been with me since December, I've been really working on conquering my day, conquering my time, planning out my day. Let me tell you, if you don't plan your day, somebody else will. Somebody please post that on the group. If you don't plan your day, somebody else will. So I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to give you 2 different ways that you can do that. One way is a traditional to-do list. I love to-do lists. At one time, I didn't do to-do lists. I'm like, for what? Like, who got to write a list of things to do? Like, really, I just do what I need to do. However, I can tell you that there is so much power in writing something down, that there's something that I can't even explain that happens in your subconscious mind that registers that thing, and don't allow that thing to skip your mind until it is complete. Until it is complete. I've had an incident, just being very transparent. Trail and I, we do task lists all the time. We did some in October and December. And there were some things I was trying to move forward with recently, and I kept feeling like I needed to go back and do something that we had put on a to-do list before. But it was like 3 or 4 things on that list that I did not do. I just moved on to other stuff, probably because we had the events. I'm not exactly sure. But I kept feeling a yearning in my spirit to go back and do these things. Don't you know, when I was browsing through my binder and realized that these things were not ever checked off my list, and so my mind, it just would not allow me to keep moving on with life without accomplishing these tasks, because when you write it down, it's like a declaration you're making that I'm going to get this done. So I want you to definitely do that. And then once you do that, you should definitely do it, number it, or put it in a number of importance. Because sometimes you just kind of do a brain dump of everything you need to do. And then you can put a priority by it, assign it 1 through 20, 1 through 10, whatever. And that's the order that you should do those activities. And based on if it's, urgent or important, you do it in that order. That's one way to do it. Just a traditional to-do list, rank and file the order of importance of those things, and categorize, okay, this is extremely important. This is due today. So if it's a deadline of today, I got to do it today. Hopefully you're not procrastinating, but sometimes you just get last minute deadlines, and sometimes you try to get it done and you still got 2 more hours to work on it or whatever that is. And you have to be sensitive to that and make those the top priorities for today. And I don't think, did we go over the definition of a priority?
No.
Okay, let's just go there. So when you talk about priority, what is that? And I just looked it up online, and it says it's something that is more important than other things and that needs to be done or dealt with first. Okay, that's so important because, as Trey was mentioning, everything cannot be a priority, because if everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. So we have to decide, you have a limited amount of time, you have a limited amount of energy. So we got to figure out how much am I going to invest on certain things and what's the most important things for me to invest in this moment. And the to-do list help you to categorize those. Another way that you can do it is using a board. My husband actually used this, and I wish I had his board to show the Periscope viewers. Maybe I'll get it sometime throughout. Well, no, I won't, because my house is dark. But anyway, maybe I can put a picture on the group of his board. And of his board, he uses categorizing it and having the left corner he has urgent, and in the right corner it says important, and in the left corner it says non-urgent, and in the bottom right corner it says non-important. So it's like a 4-quadrant, and you got your urgent to the left, important to the right, non-urgent to the bottom left, and not important to the bottom right. And you then can use stickies to write out all the things that you need to do. Now, I don't think this is necessarily something for a daily planner. I think it's something, if you're planning your time by your week, I think this is good, because there will be a lot of stickies that you're using throughout the day to do this. And, he put everything that's urgent under the quadrant 1, and everything that's important he puts under quadrant 2. And then there's going to be some things that's that's important but not urgent. So you have to figure those out. There's going to be some things that's, not important. If it's not important and not urgent, you probably shouldn't be doing it. And so you guys have to really just dive deep in your activity and what you're doing and making sure you're making the best use of your time. And I can tell you guys, I don't want to get ahead of myself on this, but I'll leave it there because sometimes we can get distracted. I'm just going to leave it there because we're going to talk a little bit about distractions a little later. But, Facebook, for example, the average person is spending over 3 hours a day on Facebook. So if you find yourself, and I know I've been guilty, and I sometimes, I just have to put my phone in my purse because we be on Facebook every 10 minutes and you're spending 3 or 4 minutes on there. So now you're on Facebook every 10 minutes, you're spending 5 minutes on there. You're on Facebook for 3 hours a day talking about it. You're looking at somebody's profile and posting something. And it's not helping you achieve your goals, and it's not in one of these major areas of life that you really need to be focusing on. So with that, Trell, that leads us kind of into being more conscientious of that and blocking out our time.
And make sure you guys, if you're not, please get on the Be My Fabulous I Am group and post throughout. If anything is resonating with you, any tips that we shared thus far, please share them. We definitely want you to be engaged on the call. We don't want it just to be us, because we're, again, going to give you an opportunity to ask some questions toward the end, and also the any comments or anything that you have. And you guys may be saying, like, y'all BTMers. Y'all doing the most. Get bored, get shepherds. Man, I don't have time for that. I get it. But if you are a person where you struggle with time management, you always are frazzled, you always frustrated, you always irritated, you always annoyed because you never have enough time. Your day starts, you get up late in the morning, you snooze the alarm call, you have to rush and get ready, rush and get the children ready, you're fussing at the children, they fussing at you. You get in the car, they almost race to school, fussing, come on, get in this car, hurry up, let's go, I have a lot of time. You're rushing to get to work, there's traffic, you're 5-10 minutes late for work, you didn't get your coffee, you gotta go get your coffee. The day just starts off all wrong. So if that is your story, I know I just blasted a few people, if that is your story, you definitely want to say, woosah, you want to sit back and you want to breathe, and you want to say, okay, I can no longer work through life like this, because I promise you, when you have more control of your day, you will feel so much better, so much more refreshed, so much more refined. And like Joe said, nobody's planning your day for you because you already have your day planned out. I have times where my mom will call me, which is all the time, to bring something to her house, to go by the store, to do this, that, and that. And that's, you guys, and I love her with every part of my being. But sometimes I tell her no. Sometimes I have to tell her no. Mom, no, I have something else to do. I cannot that goes for everybody. My husband, my son, my sister, and as a matter of fact, just getting into blocking all time. I have a time where I block off my time. The only exception really is Wednesdays because we're on this call, right, at 8 o'clock. But my block out time is 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., 7 days a week. And I can choose to answer or respond if I choose to, but I have a big notification on my phone that says block out. This time is block out. And they will tell you, most people, if they reach me between those hours, I may or may not respond. More than likely, I will not respond, just depending on if I think it's an urgent response needed. But for the most part, none of it is ever an emergency. People are just texting you, calling you, whatever, and, I don't do that. In the morning, when I get up, I spend time with God, yes. And on my way to work, my car is literally a library. I'm listening to prayers, listening to motivational speaking, listening to preaching, teaching, the Bible, whatever the case may be. So on that 30 minutes of work, I'm getting prepared. And I'm not opening up or coming out of my shell until very close to 8 o'clock. Even when I get to work, I'll say good morning, how's everybody doing? I put my headphones, still listening to inspirational teachings and things while doing my work, and then I come up and then I'm able to speak with other people. I set out time to go to the gym at work. Why? Because it's easy. I'm already at work. I have a shower there and everything, so I can set my lunch break to work out. And one thing I want to say about that real quick, and I'm talking more about blocking out your time, well, I guess we're still talking about that, is I sacrifice my lunch time to work out at least 3 days a week. So instead of me going to lunch with my girlfriend, coworkers, or whatever the case may be, I sacrifice that time, and then I eat something at my desk a little later. I know a lot of you maybe say, oh my God, no, I go out every single day. But that's prioritizing stuff like my health and wellness is very important to me. What I eat is very important to me. So not only am I blocking out 3 days a week of my lunch hour to work out, but I'm also preparing my meals the night before to take to work. I hardly ever eat out. I mean, hardly ever.
And Trell, let me say this on that. Two things I want to say. One thing I want to say is that Crystal is on Scope saying that she definitely has been guilty of kind of letting her day be hijacked and kind of being all over the place and not necessarily planning. And I know I've been guilty of that as well. But you know what? In regards to meal prep and stuff, also getting a crock pot is really like a game changer. Slow cook